Hey guys, we are back again with another Parisi podcast here with the boys back in the rave cave.
We're hammering out.
The boys in the gym.
Boys in the gym, love it. So we got an interesting topic here today we wanted to cover. This is one I was actually hammering on Casey here to cover. So I think something that is really important in our industry, we talk a ton about science, application, theory, business even, which I know we're going to dive into today a little bit. But I wanted to talk more on the philanthropic side of our job. Big word.
Yeah,
I had to think about saying it too. But I want to talk about our job as coaches, especially, and this is going to be more for the youth demographic, and I think it does impact a little bit for Gen Pop, but my strong suit is the youth. Our job as coaches and our role as coaches when it comes to that demographic. So I'll kind of kick this off, and I want to hear.
You're hosting this one,
I am.
so you are kicking it off.
It's a good point. But I think something that I didn't fully grasp when first starting with Parisi, and even starting with coaching the youth, specifically, we'll say ages like 7 to about 19, is how in-depth our job is outside of coaching. The therapist, parent, brother, sister, mentor, guide, advice, haven that we have to be when it comes to our demographic and our job as coaches. Something that I found really interesting, I spent the first half of my career diving in heavily on the science and application and how to be a better coach. I didn't really dive so much into how to be a better person, like how to work on myself and all the different pieces. And when I started to get athletes coming to me with hey, how do I deal with X, Y, and Z? What do I do in this scenario? I need help. I need advice. I kind of was a little shell-shocked because I was like, I don't know. I've screwed up pretty much most of my life up until the past 5 years. So I'd love to hear, your experience with that to kind of kick it off. And more specifically, in the beginning years, was that something you anticipated having to deal with? Was it something that you didn't? Let's start with that first.
I think what you alluded to there is with younger kids, they don't know what a mentor is, but we are their first mentor. They don't know it. They don't have a title for it, but we really are.
I like that.
Especially, being in your 20s. I started coaching at age 21. I had some athletes that were my age. Yeah. I had athletes that were a couple of years, graduating senior could be 18 years old. Yeah. And then you have 16 to 20 to 17. To the younger kids, 12 and under, you're the old guy anyway, right? You're just if you just
21 being old is crazy.
If you don't live with your parents, you're old, right? If you're not in a academic institution, you're old. I didn't, right? Same as you. I didn't know. I knew it was important to talk the talk and walk the walk, and it was heavily drilled from John Cirillo and Bill and Mark Rudy, right, during our training week, that when you work with someone's kids, it matters, and you need to care about it, and you just even if you don't want to take on that role, you need to just be someone that a kid, an impressionable person, can be. And I think that, again, with Gen Pop people, that someone who's impressionable wants to be around.
Yeah.
Right? As a personal trainer at a commercial gym, people know you're a trainer. You're pictured on the wall. When you're exercising, people are going to watch how you do it. Yeah. Right? Just as an example, that most people can really gravitate towards, yep, you're a trainer, you're supposed to be professional. Whatever you do, people are watching that, seeing if you really know what you're doing, right? So when you come into a Parisi Speed School and you work with the Jumpstart age kids, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, how are you dressed? It matters. Yeah. And we always had a uniform, but I remember our socks could be different, right? So socks and shoes could be pretty different to whatever you want. So that's how you would show your personality, is what kind of socks you would have, how your shoes looked, but example, what is that, right? So I work with young kids. I would always have Star Wars socks. I would have holiday socks. I would have the socks that had the little wings I had all these different socks because that was part of my personality with young kids. my shoes were always tied. My shoes were always clean.
Yeah.
My clothes were always
you guys was tucked in too.
always tucked in, and made sure that it wasn't wrinkly, right? Like your physical appearance mattered because a parent had to look at you. And when you're young, it's not a skill, right? Or it's not to your advantage because a parent I do this, like I'm 36. If I bring my kid to dance and there is a young appearing person, I'm going to judge that person. I'm leaving my child with you. I'm going to judge that person. Is this safe? Are you responsible? Can you handle the group of tiny children in front of you? How do you command it? So whether you want, long-winded way of saying, whether you want to or not, you're going to be.
Yeah.
And you have to take on that role, or embrace that role rather, as much or as little as you want, because it's there. But if you don't want to, you don't have to. But you have to know you're going to some extent.
Yeah, and I think that's a really big point, because whether, like you said, you want to or not, you have to. And that's something that, as someone who's now hiring staff, and like I'm very, very picky on who we take on in staff. And I think something I hammer home in like every interview is like, look, here's the gist. And we've talked about this before. Whether you have a great day or a bad day, your session is a good session.
Yep.
Your session is a good or great
only
or
allowed
excellent session.
Great and good days.
Yeah, that's it. When you walk out on the training floor, and this is going to sound harsh, but I don't care what has happened at home. I walk out on that training floor, and I'm in a fantastic mood. I'm upbeat. I'm hype. I'm ready to go, because we don't know what these kids are walking in with. We don't know what has happened to them, what their home life is like, what mom and dad or uncle or whatever, whoever has said to them, coach. We don't know what we're walking into. And if we set that tone here and they walk in here, they're going to leave here. But if we set that tone here and they walk in here, I've got a better chance of getting them to a point when they walk out, they're a little bit better.
Yep.
They have a better session. And we deal with, I've got an athlete right now that just lost her mom unexpectedly. I have no idea how to handle that. Like, that's not something, but, she's a kid that she's come in my office, she's cried in my office before, and it's not something that you expect as a coach, but it's something that, hey, this is my role. Like, I don't know how to handle this, but you have made yourself the facility, the place, the person that these kids come to rely on. Cirillo has stories about this. Eric Mitchell, Steve, all of our coaches have stories about this. It is so important that you understand the levity of like what that is, that you don't get to have that off day, because if that kid does come in and that's the day that something is going on and you're like, all right, we're warm up, let's go, let's get this over with. Like, okay, that's the day that I'm no longer going to say anything, because I'm coming to you saying like, hey, I don't know what to do. We started our relationship as coach and athlete. And that was something that I tell all my athletes, like, that impacted my life heavily. We're still here, best friends. This is still something that is, you want to be Italian, so
I want Italian adjacent.
Yeah.
Continue though.
But that is something that, I hold very near and dear to my heart, but I now have that, like, with my athletes. It's I've got a ton of athletes this year, it's senior year. I've got 5-6 senior games this year alone, and this is the first time in my life that I'm like getting emotional.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Because you literally see, and I do think it goes, right? It goes when you have kids, right? Like, and I don't mean, I'm not trying to make this dark or anything like that, but you have to remember, the gym, like when you look at working with kids, and I think this gets overshadowed and forgotten. Yeah. Kids go from home to school, right? And we, as adults, we have home and work. Yeah. And then there's always it's this topic of the third place, right? What is this third place? And a lot of people, it's the gym.
Yeah.
It's Parisi for the kids. It's the gym for the adults. Yeah. Some it's the bar that they go to, right? That's not always the most positive, but for a lot of people, in 2025, I just talked with Lily McCabe a couple weeks ago. She's the event specialist for Vivo, a brand here in Richmond.
Yeah.
And we talk about building community, right? Like this concept of a third home, a third place for a lot of these people. And for kids, that's what sports is, right? Like practicing. But if they're coming to a Parisi Speed School or to your gym, they're probably not in season right now. They don't have that. Or it becomes, since the Parisi Speed School is always their third home, and sports is the fourth home.
Yeah,
right. So
that's what we develop.
It's this responsibility that we want. Everyone wants their trainings. Like I even just saw someone, like it's a gym and social club. Like that's like this idea of like a gym being branded as a social club, right? This idea of third home. So it's a guy from Coach 'em Up.
Oh yeah,
it's like the gym that they're opening.
Their new one. It's the best gym in Texas.
It's they call it a social club, right? And that's awesome. I have a friend of mine has a gym in Long Island. Like that's the same idea. Like it's a recreational club. Like they do things as a gym. Rock climb and kickball league. Like the gym hosts these different events for their members. So we're like that for kids. Yeah. But we have to remember that kids are wildly impressionable.
Yes.
Wildly, right?
Yeah.
So for our role, and you talk about hiring, and I would tell people, especially female coaches that we would interview, if you're not ready to be a role model for every young lady that walks into the gym, this isn't the job for you. Yeah. And I know they might not understand it, but that's okay. They will. But outside of all the training and the sessions and things like that, if you're not willing to be that role model, this isn't a job for you, because you're going to be. Yeah. Like you're
who they look up to.
You're a strong, like physically looking, but also like a leader of the group that they're seeing in action. They're experiencing your leadership. So you're going to become that person. And it is like that for men too. But I think females in the strength conditioning and sports performance place, there just isn't as many.
Yeah. There is.
I don't have the exact numbers. I think we can all agree that there's just not as many females as there's male in this industry. So if you have females on staff as a coach, they're going to become that leader. And it's the only thing that matters, because if the answer to that isn't I understand or cool, awesome, I look forward to that, which it just needs to be absolutely I understand. Yeah. Then nothing else matters.
Yeah, we're done.
That's it, right?
No, it has to be.
Yeah, for sure. But
it's a big piece that and this is a hot take for me. We should do an episode of all hot takes. That sounds good. But, hot take for me is most of my staff is female coaches. And honestly, like the male coaches I bring on board, like most times I'm like, man, I just gotta hire a female coach. Because and this is where, maybe I'll get a little biased, but a female coach usually has a easier empathetic profile where if something is going on, they can pick up on it a little bit sooner than a male coach does. I'm very lucky that I just grew up in an environment where I was able to do that. But I've noticed a lot with male coaches, especially just in our industry, when you have a male athlete or a female athlete, maybe is having an off day, maybe isn't having the best session. For them, it just doesn't click. And it's like, we're just going to do more, push harder, X, Y, Z. And I'm not saying all male coaches. There are definitely some that kill it, especially in our network and in the industry itself. We have some really stellar ones. But there is just that capacity level where, hey, you got to understand that you are also a role model, but it's your job to notice the things that are off too. If there is something that you're like, hey, she's just a little off today, it's always something's going on, you got to be able to, A, try to figure out how you can help, B, mitigate the session. Because if I got one kid that's off and I'm trying to do this and another coach is doing it, it's like, okay, well, now this can get real bad real quick. And C, I think, where do we go from there? Is it something that we need to keep checking in on? Is it like an off day? Where are we at in that cycle of things? What I think becomes really important is, like you said, when hiring new coaches, is explaining the gravity of like, hey, you really need to understand what your job is going to be. Like, yeah, you got to be the best when it comes to training, but you also need to have your stuff together. Like, it's got to be unlocked. And I'm not saying you got to be perfect. Lord knows I am not by any means. But, like, this morning I was up and doing work before I came here to do the podcast because that's what I got to do for the business. And, after this, I'm going to the gym. I got to train because I got to keep up on my stuff. But I think there's sometimes with coaches where, we hit our late 30s, early 40s where it's like, I could start to let it slide. I don't got to train anymore. Or it doesn't matter if I drink or I can eat. I can do whatever I want, And they start working on themselves. That then carries over. And you're going to have that youth athlete that's like, oh, why doesn't Coach So-and-so run anymore? Why doesn't Coach So-and-so sprint with us anymore? Why is Coach So-and-so doing X, Y, and Z? And, like, because kids they don't have no
Kids will tell you. Kids will tell you.
They will
whether you want to hear it or not, they're going to tell you.
Yeah. They will be straight up. They'll be like, man, Coach So-and-so is getting a little fat. And you're like, whoa. Man, we're just like, and because you'll have a coach and they'll be like, what? What do you mean? But they're honest.
Yeah.
And so it's a hard conversation I've had to have with a couple coaches recently of like, hey, like I get you want all the hours and you want to do this, but you don't deserve them because you don't understand what it takes to be here yet. And when you do, like, then we're all in and we're diving. But you got to understand, like, get it together. Get your own home life, whatever, like, get it together. Because when you come in here, man, it's got to be together. And if it's not, like, then we're going to have to cut you loose.
Yep. And I feel like there's a pivotal point in a coach's coaching career where they have to choose their character. They have to choose their identity, right? So you're the hardo.
Yep.
You just go all, and I can think of like the personalities that I've worked with, not in our Parisi Speed School, but in the gym that we were a part of, where it was the trainer who you were 5 minutes late,
yep,
and like wouldn't train you, yeah, like you were late, like, and that's fine. Be that person.
Yeah.
There's the trainer that is the nurturer. It's okay. We're just gonna sit here and foam over 30 minutes because that's what your mental, like, we're just gonna lean hard into the empath and just, this is what we're gonna do. I know for me, I personally would go the route, I took this route, I still do this, where I want, like, when we're training, when you're in my group, it's the escape.
Yeah.
Like, I am gonna have a good or a great day. I know that is my role. Yeah. So that I'm yellow lab energy through and through. And as soon as you step in, all the other stuff is on the back burner for at least an hour.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's the role that I want, and that's the role that because I have a no cry rule, like, with my adult clients. Like, I should never do anything. We should never have a conversation that elicits an emotional response that's too high or too low.
Yeah.
Because my job when you come in is, let's have an awesome exercise session, whatever that entails, training, whatever. It's the same with Parisi. You're in my group. You may have failed a test. You may have gotten denied from your number one college. You may not be able to make it to whatever tonight because your parents are making you come to Parisi instead of the thing you wanted to go do with your friend.
Yeah.
Right? So I understand, but for the next hour, this is where we're at. This is what you're doing. And I'm going to make it as fun as I can for you, that you forget about the other stuff. Like, that was the character that I chose. Yeah. And it worked personally for me. Like, it just worked really well because it matched my personality. Yeah. It didn't match with a lot of other, like, that was one thing we would do in the evaluation is we would figure out what personality a athlete may gravitate towards. Yeah. The calmness of this person, the yellow lab energy of this person, the like the wittiness and like kind of sassiness of this person, right? So
it's funny because I know exactly.
Yeah, and it was just kind of like, and it's important, for someone to know when they come in because kids have their favorites. Yeah. But with your gym and your culture, this topic goes so many different ways. So if the culture of your training gym is that you're all together, like, that was what we had. Like, it was 4 coaches. Yeah. We were all together. Even though someone might have been in your group, I was still around. They would still see me.
Yeah, they're still saying
hi. If they were with me, they're still saying hi. Yeah, they're still able to talk to you in a training environment because it was an open concept gym. So I think it's just important that for a trainer, after they've trained and kind of been around, they choose their character, so to speak, because that's going to be true to them, but also understand the cultural aspect of the gym, right? Like where it comes from and why it's important and how it overlays with all of the other people. Like you're saying, you don't get, if it doesn't work, because you lose, right? Like,
absolutely.
You can be yourself. I want you to be yourself.
Yeah.
And we're going to figure out where being yourself matches with the cultural identity of the gym.
How we put the puzzle pieces
Because
together.
if there's a disconnect there, well, like it's not going to work out. They're not going to have a good, the coach is not going to have a good time.
No.
And the business and the other coaches are not going to have, it's going to be a clear divide.
Everything's going to go wrong in that stage. I think you bring up a really good point. You know, finding that personality helps with all these different pieces. And it also leads to, and you brought up a really good point, which I want to hammer in a little bit, is it has to be authentic. Like, it has to be true to you. Like, you couldn't pull off a hard style, Sergeant Cirillo type deal.
Can't.
It's not going to work.
I would break character.
Yeah, immediately. Like, it just doesn't work. You know, my coaching personality is very different too. I'm like a mix of the two. I can be, you know, strict and stern, but I don't pull it out very often. But if I go serious, like everyone understands, oh, we messed up. Yeah, bad. We need to dial it back.
Pull back.
But 90% of the time, you know, I'm there. We're having a fun time. It's like it's the same thing. Like, we're in session. Our goal is to get you better than when you walked in the door. And that's it. That's it. And if we got something to go over, great. We can take it up in the office after. But I think the important piece, and two ones that I want to hammer in, is that authenticity. Whatever coaching position that you pick on in your role and your personality when it comes to coaching has to be authentic to who you are. And this is something I'm trying to dial into my staff right now is, you know, when you're new to this, you're trying to find, oh, should I be the hard ass? Should I be the really nice, empathetic coach? Should I be down the middle? Who am I supposed to be? Because some of the coaches are like, oh, the kids don't, you know, I don't feel like I have a great relationship. And it's like, well, it's because you're not authentic. They know that you're full of it. Like, they know that you're trying to be someone you're not. Yeah. And the kids pick up on that more than adults do. Adults don't really care all the time. They pick up on it.
The kids are there for you. The adults are there for the workout.
Absolutely. And so I tell coaches all the time, like, hey, like, you need to figure out who you are. And not some, you know, woo-woo, you know, spiritual, like, you just understand, like, if you talk and walk a certain way, talk and walk that same way. Like, I get flack for it all the time. I'm a little brash when it comes to the kids, and I give them shit every once in a while, and, you know, we push back. But when it comes to it, they know that if they need to tell me something, they know that I'm there, I'm going to listen, and it's full on respect.
Because it's real.
Absolutely. It's authentic, it's real. And I think another good point I want to hammer in with this is, especially youth and Parisi Speed School specific, that community. That is a place that you're going to get all these kids and parents sometimes too. If you train both, you're going to get parents and athletes. You know, we have the luxury of having that too. But you're going to get a community in there that are there for, like you said, for you. They're there for it. They're not just there for training. Like, yes, we get results. We train really hard. We train to win. You know, we do all the things. We have some of the best in the state. But they're there and they want to be there. We got kids coming in. They don't even train. They're just coming in to shoot it. Hey, coach, how's it going? Oh, you're in session. Do you mind if I stick around? It's like, hey, it was you.
Mm-hmm. You literally answered the phone.
I did.
You literally could answer the phone.
I literally would sit behind the desk. I would answer. I was there 4 or 5 hours a day.
I think that's the test of the health of your, like, you talk culture is a big buzzword. But your culture, like your community, your people will tell you what your culture is. If people are scurrying out,
if they're in and out,
right? That's unless that's what you want, right?
I don't think it's to me personal opinion.
I know it's not me, but then again, but it probably goes to the authenticity of the if that's like if it's an F-45 and it's classes turning around, like that's probably the culture of the business, right? I've never been to that 45. So I don't know. I just think of it if it's like some type of like mill of a fitness entity.
Yeah.
But I think it's hard to find your voice, your character. It's like the osmosis leadership. I don't know if that's like a phrase or a thing, but being around, and I was very lucky. I never lost. We had one trainer, John, who left in my 7 years as a program director at Parisi. Like That's one thing I can always flag down. We have one trainer, like he went on to just go do went on to go sell insurance or something. He just
he's
left
straight out of the industry.
So he didn't even really he quit technically, but it wasn't like I'm going to another gym situation.
Yeah.
Everyone else stayed until the last day, right? So that's something that I've always been very lucky that we've had strong personalities, and by strong, I just mean people who have been there a long time. Because when you're new, and I would say you guys at On Track, you've had massive renovation. You're growing, right? So when you grow, you're gonna have changing. That's what growth is. Growth is change, right? So you get to the maturity level of the business, and then you look around and see what's there, who's there, and that's a good place to be. Obviously, a mature business is great because it probably has some roots of personalities and culture and identity, and it's a more stable entity for someone to come into versus the growth phase can be. I remember the first 5 years of my coaching career, I was just goofy. I wasn't a good coach. I wasn't a bad coach. I was just a coach, and I largely, because I was the young one on a staff, I had all the girls. I had all the jump start classes. Yep. I had all the kids that no one else really wanted to coach. They would be like, okay, so you got this class because here's that kid and he's a problem.
Yeah.
And they were never a problem really for me because I was largely kind of pain in the ass kid myself. So I kind of see a lot of myself in the pain in the ass kids. But I didn't know. And I remember the first time that I actually told, we know Eric Mitchell is a guest on this podcast. He's one of our master coaches of Parisi.
Shout out Eric.
I remember, I don't know if he still has the voicemail, but I remember the first time I did story time. At the end of a session, I couldn't even tell you what story it was. It might have been the one arm judo. Eric would actually maybe remember this. I don't know. But I remember telling the story for the first time, actually, as a part of me, rather than just something to do that was very authentic, not part of my coaching style.
Yeah.
My coaching style was just dap them up. Here's what we're doing. We're gonna have a good time doing it.
Yeah.
And I knew enough to adjust applications so that you could get a sweet workout.
Yeah.
But as I kind of grew into it took 4+ years of reps to do it. And I think that it's important for coaches to know who are listening to this of finding this identity of a coach and your role with your community and your athletes. It's going to change, and you're not expected to have it day one, but you need to be working on it.
Yeah.
That's I remember that's one thing you said, this ability to work on yourself and find your identity and lean into it, but also it needs to be really you.
It's gotta be authentic.
Yeah, and mine changed. I had kids. I became a father. I wasn't the 24-year-old coach. I expected more from myself. I expected more, and it did start to change a little bit. But my role in the business changed. I wasn't the coach coaching 30 hours a week. I was coaching 8. Right, I was coaching 5. I was only coaching certain. Actually, I still coach all the age groups. Right, so it was just know it's going to change, is what I'm trying to say. And know that it's not going to come at first, unless it does. And it might.
Some people.
It might.
Just depends on the person.
Yeah, right. You're gonna find your coaching style at some point. It's gonna happen.
Do you feel when you became a dad, your coaching, how did it flip for you?
It didn't necessarily flip. I became a different thing. I think I just had to. I don't know if it really helped. I think it became more transactional. I don't think that's a good thing. Okay. I think it became more of because at the time, I had also become the program director, so I wasn't coaching as much. But what really impacted on that side at that time point was I talked to the parents. Yeah. And that's one thing that helped me as a coach. I'm sure you know this. If my first interaction is with your dad or mom, now I can expect more from you because I have rapport with mom and dad. Whereas as a performance coach, you don't always talk to mom and dad.
Yeah.
So you don't know where you stand.
Yeah.
Right. And that was one thing that so if we had an issue with a kid or a coach or something, I would go up to the kid. I would pull them aside or her aside and say, like, hey, I see you're having a hard time. I see we're doing this and that. This isn't what we're trying to do today. Like, I'm the one who just want to let you know it's not going to be Coach so-and-so. It's going to be me who talks to your parent.
Yeah.
So you can bully up on Coach so-and-so, but just know it's not Coach so-and-so's say. I'm the one calling mom and dad, walking out to the lobby, walking out to the car in the parking lot to let them know. Yeah. So just know that I'm going to do that, not so-and-so.
Yeah.
Like, you may not think they're going to do it because they got to go to another session or whatever,
But
I'm the one who's going to do it because I talked to mom and dad at the parent eval for an hour and I know why you're here and this, that, and the other thing. So it wasn't, being a parent didn't really change really a lot the coaching practice for me.
Yeah.
But becoming the program director did. But it also kind of gave me more, I think, responsibility to the coaches because I had to, in a way, like, I want them to be the coaches on staff who are coaching more than me to be them. Yeah. I don't want them to have to be the disciplinarian. That I always kind of put on me because I had the responsibility with kids. I had the relationship with the parents. Yeah. So I'm not going to have the random coach call Mrs. Smith, who's never met them, doesn't even know what they look like, to be like, this is the first interaction we've had. Your kid had mentioned this really terrible thing to me. Or your kid, like, I don't want that. That wasn't, unless they wanted it.
You have the relationship.
But that was what I would do. So I think becoming the program director and having more relationship with the parents really helped to allow the coaches to be that. Yeah. Because like, our coaches, most young people don't want to have most people don't want to have those hard conversations. Yep. But you have to know, as the leader of your facility, you are going to have those. That's what you get paid to do. Yeah. You get paid to have those really hard conversations with the staff, with the community, with the parents, with your actual clients. Like, that's what comes with the promotion, I think.
Yeah, it's your job to have those pieces, which I think, I mean, that's a fantastic point. So I was curious. So I think, to wrap this up, I think, what are 2 to 3 key pieces that you would say are important for a new coach in this side of things, less science, training, theory, and all those pieces? What are some things you would recommend new coaches do or look into or work on to start to prepare a little bit if they're looking to get into that youth market?
As far as the coaching identity goes?
Yeah, as far as coaching identity, being prepared for the role, being a role model, what are some things that we could tell someone that hasn't really experienced yet, the 21-year-old that's just starting out with Parisi or training kids?
So when it comes to that side of it, I would say, 1, I think you should read the book How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Great.
Because that is a book about listening. Yeah. And when you work with kids, you listen first. That's what you do.
2 ears, 1 mouth.
You don't talk, you listen, and then you listen again, and then you decide to talk. So I would read that book.
Yeah.
Because I know once I did read that book, I think I was like 25-ish, 24, 25. I instantly regretted not reading it earlier because it was on the required reading list. Like, it was one of those that, like, Parisi used to have required reading.
Yeah.
And that was one of them that I just put off, and I wish I didn't. So that's number 1. And number 2 is to journal. So I did this when I was coaching, and I would reflect at the end of the day. I would write what I thought went well and what I thought I could work on. Mm-hmm. And that was it. It was just one, I'll say 1 to 3, but largely it was just one bullet point.
Yeah.
And I remember it would start like, I forgot to do this in the warm up.
Yeah.
Like, it was very tactical, which is totally fine. Yeah. So I forgot to do this. I was off on my session timing.
Yeah.
I didn't eat at the right time, so I got hungry towards the end. Like, it was very logistical, very operational.
Yeah.
But it eventually turned into, made a bad comment to a kid who couldn't do chin-ups, and that it would be something like, really was overexcited for a kid that didn't want it. Like he's a big introverted kid, and you hyped up the kid that was like, I don't want the hype.
Yeah.
You know, it's like reading the body language. So, but what's important about it is because you're gonna forget. You coach a lot daily, whatever, you're gonna forget. So I would journal, reflect, whatever you want to call it, 1 to 3 points for the day, not per session, but for the day. And it helped because I would review that every quarter. And I would be able to look back and say, oh yeah, I do need to pay attention to someone's body language more. Oh, I do need to, something that went well was this phrase that I told so-and-so, right? It seemed to make sense. And it could be like coaching cues, things that went well in the session is for like the warm up, for the cool down, like did this thing. It was some tactical, some interpersonal, but it just helped me remember the things, for coaching, like all of it, right? So I would recommend that. And that's awesome. An uncomfortable process for many, but really it's like creating a grocery list, just things you don't want to forget.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need, and it can be in your phone. It can be on like your notes app or something. Just every day that you work, write down. And it used to be super funny because on Saturdays I coach like one class, right? Go in and coach like a 10 o'clock speed. And I would have to like write a bullet point for like the 2 kids that were there on like a May morning or something. And it was like, well, then I remember it could be like, didn't have any kids, didn't like the feeling. And that reminded me that I like coaching larger teams, right? So it's just important to do that. So read the book, How to Win Friends, Influence People. Do some type of journaling reflection on what went well and what didn't. Okay. With any adult based, you can coach both, whatever. But you just have to reflect on it because you're never going to get better if you don't remember it and if you don't take the time to reflect.
Yep.
What do I?
That's solid. Too. I'll give mine.
You too.
Well, shout out to my staff because we're about to implement that for everyone. So you guys can thank Casey for that. None of them watched the
It takes 3 minutes.
Yeah, it doesn't take that long.
You do it.
We'll be implementing that.
Honestly, I did it in the bathroom at the end of the day.
Perfect.
Because you always get, what do you get? Number 1, number 2, hey, change your shoes, sit down, jot it down, out, done. That was it.
It doesn't, right? It's the 2 sentences to answer. It's not that bad.
Mix up a protein shake, you're out.
Yep, that's good. I like that. No, those are solid. I would say my 2. One big one for me would be gaining feedback from the people you're working with.
Sure.
Asking them and the parents, asking, everyone. This is an uncomfortable conversation, but asking the people, hey, what do you like about when we train? What don't you like about, and just, you got to have a good relationship with them, that enough respect is there that they're going to tell you, hey, actually, it really annoys me when you are super hype. Oh, my bad. Like, okay, that's on me. I'm sorry. So it's knowing, until you can, it takes years until you can like nail body language and you're like, okay, I know this kid is not going to be game for it. But when you're always trying to coach killer sessions, you're always like, let's go, we're doing it. And you get those kids that are like, oh, too much, dude. Especially private clients that maybe are like, look, I'm just here to like do the thing. Can we just shoot it and like be chill? And you're like, oh, okay, like I got to tone it down. So I think one thing I did early in my career that was helpful was, I came from the restaurant industry, hospitality, where we're always trying to figure out, hey, what's going on? What do we like? What don't we like? You like the special? Do you not like? So for me, I was always like, hey, what'd you like about our session today? Oh, I loved when we did this. Awesome. What didn't you like? I'm not a big fan of Bulgarian split squats. Great. Okay. I appreciate, I always tell them, like, I appreciate your feedback. I love that you are comfortable enough to give it to me. And sometimes I'll be like, but we're still going to do it. Like, especially when it's a work, like if it's an exercise and it doesn't hurt, like Bulgarian split squats, great example. I got tons of kids. Hey, what'd you like about today? Oh, I like this. What'd you not like? Oh, I don't like Bulgarian split squats. I appreciate that you give me the answer, but we're still gonna do it next time. Yeah. So I think that's one, that it's a difficult conversation, but it's simple. Takes 2 minutes. Doesn't take very long, and you're gonna quickly find out like, hey, I don't like when you do X, Y, and Z. Okay, if I hear that a lot, probably gonna change that. I think another really important one is, I'm going to kind of piggyback off reading the book. Just reading and watching and doing courses that are built around your weaknesses. Most people know, hey, I'm not very good with talking to people. I'm not very good at social environments. I'm not very good at X, Y, and Z, public speaking, whatever it may be. And so taking courses and watching YouTube, it's free. Go watch YouTube. read a book, buy a book, go to Barnes and Noble, sit there and read it, go sit in Starbucks and, hand out the book. If you really want to do this, you're going to find the things that hey, I'm weak in this. If you can strengthen that, we talk about that skill gap. If everything up here is here and I got that one gap that's that weakest length, if that comes to here, everything else gets heightened as well. I'm going to learn more tools, techniques, and tactics to really hammer this in. So that's something that I've done a lot. I'm saying more so in the past 2 years of my coaching career in business, because I've been coaching a ton and I love coaching, but I know that there are some pieces of me that I'm not the greatest at. Empathy and being empathetic and those types, the emotional intelligence for me is like no bueno. But I'm hitting, like I said, I got a lot of kids in senior year this year. And I'm going to games and I'm like getting emotional, and it's like a first time for me.
It's part of it though.
What is this?
When you have people that have been in it and you see them grow up in it, right? That will foster your coaching, right? Like that's because a lot of times it's such a transactional feel in training. I pay you, you give me a workout.
Yeah.
And the second you can cross it into that interpersonal realm, it's a completely different. You realize your job is a little bit more than the workout. Something my mom is a hairdresser. I know she watches the pod, so she'll hear this. But we heard I did a podcast years ago, and she's like, "Well, I don't sell haircuts. It's more than a haircut." And it's something that I was like, "Well, yeah, it's a workout needs to be killer.
It's gotta be good. Gotta be good.
Workout needs to be good. But it is more than a workout. It is the third home. It is the friendly face. It is the anchor that if you have someone who's a bad day, I know when I go to this place, I'm good for an hour. And I can check it out and it's totally fine. So realizing, the multiple dimensions of what you really do is super important.
It's a lot. And I'm gonna kind of wrap up on a secret trick here for all the coaches, but I think one really important thing that we've recently started to do, and I did a lot, and I didn't really realize I was doing it when I first started my career, is being honest with athletes and parents, but giving them that extra communication. Reaching out to kids on the DM and saying, "Hey man, I saw your X, Y, and Z, super proud of you, you did this, X, Y." And it's not, it can be used for sales, it can be used as a retention tool, but I did it for a long time because first 2 years of my business, I only did private clients. We had no classes.
Yeah.
So it was just relationships. So I would see kids do this. "Hey man, that's so awesome that you did that." Having that, and then going to games and talking to the kids after. And the losses are honestly better than the wins. I know if any of our kids watch us, I'm sorry to say that, but because then you really get to sit with them and say, "Hey man, but you did really well. I get the team loss, I get how you're feeling, but you did really well." And you get that kid that comes up to you after a loss and they hug you. I mean, "Coach, you don't even know how much it means for me that you were here."
Yep.
You're like, "Oh,
yeah,
I was here at a game." Yeah. But for them, it's that's a big thing.
Huge.
And so I think that's, a great way to wrap it up is, we have a lot of levity and a lot of gravity when it comes to what we do and how we do it. Now, all these different pieces, I'm sure, we'll expand on this more to come, I'm sure, but it's a really important piece of what we do. And I think sometimes we do kind of mistake that because all the science and the theory and the application of everything, this is how we grow the business at the end of the day. It's relationships. Yep. And it's being really, really good at relationships and caring about the kids that come into our facilities.
Yep.
That's pinnacle.
100%. 100%.
Rock on. Well,
episode. Nice job.
Solid episode.
Look at you. Look at the host.